Everything-in-1 brand. Jujutsu Kaisen Arc 1, Cursed Child Arc, Chapter 0.1 to 0.4. Here are pointfuls. Adapted in Jujutsu Kaisen 0 the movie, perfect for Everything-in-1 blog and narration. Summary. Before the main story of Yuji Itadori, the world of Jujutsu sorcery spotlighted Yuta Okotsu, a timid boy cursed with the spirit of his childhood friend, Rika Orimoto. After she died in a car accident, her love-bound spirit transformed into an immensely powerful and terrifying cursed entity, uncontrollable and fiercely protective of Yuta. Fearing the danger Rika poses, Jujutsu authorities initially seek to confine or even eliminate Yuta. However, Satoru Gojo, the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer, intervenes. Believing in Yuta's potential, he enrolls him at Tokyo Jujutsu High, a school dedicated to training those who can combat curses. At Jujutsu High, Yuta meets his new classmates. Maki Zenin, a weapons expert from a strict Jujutsu clan. Toge Inumaki, who uses cursed speech to fight. Panda, a talking beast created through Jujutsu techniques. Though shy and overwhelmed, Yuta begins forming bonds, learning to control his power, and slowly accepting Rika's presence. His growth is put to the test when Suguru Geto, a powerful ex-sorcerer who views non-sorcerers as inferior, declares war. His plan: unleash curses across Japan and steal Rika to use her devastating power. The chaos culminates on December 24th during the Night Parade of 100 Demons, where Yuta faces Geto in a fierce showdown. Embracing his strength and emotions, Yuta channels Rika's power not with fear, but with love. He defeats Geto and, with acceptance and closure, releases Rika's soul, ending her curse peacefully. In a final revelation, we learn Yuta is a descendant of one of the most powerful Jujutsu clans, explaining his immense latent power. Key takeaways: a haunting yet heartfelt story of grief, love, and acceptance. Introduces major players like Yujo and Geto. Sets emotional and thematic groundwork for the main story. Yuta Okotsu's origin arc delivers raw emotion, supernatural tension, and a beautiful message. Love can heal, even when cursed. Everything-in-1. Shall we move to Arc? Jujutsu Kaisen Arc 2, Fearsome Womb Arc. Chapters 1-5, Episodes 1-3. Formatted for Everything-in-1 blog and YouTube narration. Summary. We're introduced to the main protagonist of the series, Yuji Itadori, a kind-hearted high schooler with incredible physical strength and a love for helping others. He lives a normal life, spending his days with the occult club and visiting his hospitalized grandfather, who gives Yuji a powerful parting message before passing: help others, die surrounded by people. Yuji's life takes a drastic turn when he and his friends stumble upon a cursed object, a rotted, shriveled finger, sealed at their school. That finger belongs to Ryomen Sukuna, the most powerful cursed spirit in history. Unsealing it draws a swarm of violent curses to the school. Enter Megumi Fushiguro, a first-year student at Tokyo Jujutsu High, who arrives to retrieve the object. As curses attack, Megumi is overwhelmed, and Yuji, willing to save his friends, makes a desperate move. He swallows Sukuna's finger, becoming the host of the curse. Miraculously, Yuji manages to retain control over his body even after Sukuna manifests inside him, an extremely rare phenomenon. His act of heroism saves his friends, but puts him at the center of the Jujutsu world. Now seen as a dangerous anomaly, he is sentenced to death. But Satoru Gojo, impressed by Yuji's will and potential, makes a deal with the higher-ups: delay the execution until Yuji consumes all 20 of Sukuna's fingers, eliminating the curse forever. Into the world of Jujutsu sorcery. Yuji is enrolled at Tokyo Jujutsu High, where he meets his new teammates. Megumi Fushiguro, stoic, calm, and bound by a strong sense of duty. Nobara Kugisaki, fierce, sarcastic, and proud of her rural roots. Their first mission together is no small task: investigate a detention center that's been overtaken by a curse. Inside, they're trapped in a domain full of malicious energy. The group is separated, and Yuji faces off against a powerful curse far above what he's ready for. When the curse overpowers him, Sukuna forcefully takes over Yuji's body. While Sukuna obliterates the curse with ease, he then turns on Megumi, testing his own strength. Yuji, however, manages to briefly regain control before Sukuna fatally injures him from within. Yuji dies, leaving Megumi and Nobara in shock. the first loss, and a bigger plan. Though it seems like the end, this moment marks the true beginning of Yuji's jujutsu journey. Gojo, still confident in Yuji's importance, prepares for what's coming. A brewing conflict with special-grade curses and dangerous sorcerers who want to reshape the world. Yuji's body is later revealed to be intact, hinting at his possible return, but his death is kept secret for the time being. Key themes: the danger of cursed objects and spirits, the burden of self-sacrifice, introduction of major players and team dynamics, Yuji's emotional and moral foundation, saving others at all costs. From a selfless student to a cursed vessel, Yuji's journey kicks off with tragedy, tension, and an unforgettable first taste of the supernatural. Everything in One. Chapters 6 to 9. Episodes 4 to 5 for Everything in One content. Summary. Despite Yuji Itadori's apparent death at the end of the Fearsome Womb Arc, his story is far from over. Meanwhile, Megumi Fushiguro and Nobara Kugisaki are dispatched with second-year Kento Nanami to deal with a disturbing new mission involving a special-grade cursed womb discovered in a juvenile detention facility. This arc dives deeper into the danger scale of curses, introducing special-grade threats. Curses so powerful that normal exorcism tactics are nearly useless. The mission initially appears to be a rescue operation, but the team quickly realizes something is deeply wrong. The cursed womb has hatched, birthing a terrifying curse named Cursed Womb Death Painting, one that operates independently and instinctively destroys everything in its path. With no backup and facing overwhelming odds, Megumi urges Nobara to escape. However, Megumi himself stands his ground, determined to fight, even if it means death. This arc gives us a deep look into Megumi's inner conflict. He's powerful but hesitant to use his full strength because of a mysterious past and personal beliefs about who deserves to be saved. Just when things look grim, Yuji returns, alive, having been revived by Sukuna's cursed energy after an inner bargain. Yuji resumes the fight, now more aware of the heavy burden he carries as Sukuna's vessel. But even with his strength, the cursed womb proves dangerously resilient. The battle ends with Yuji defeating the curse, but not without consequences. Sukuna secretly retrieves another of his own fingers from the curse's body and consumes it, growing stronger in silence. Character highlights. Megumi's morality. His refusal to abandon others shows his stoic sense of justice. His inner struggle hints at deeper trauma and potential. Yuji's resolve. Though resurrected, Yuji questions the meaning of death and what it means to be human now that he's a cursed vessel. Sukuna's influence. He's plotting in the shadows, and his strength is slowly returning, ominous for everyone involved. Key themes. What makes a life worth saving? The balance between strength and mercy. Death is not always the end, but it changes people. Curse evolution and intelligence. Not all curses are mindless monsters. The Cursed Womb Arc raises the stakes, deepens character development, and reminds us that not all victories are clean. Some curses linger within. Want to Kaisen Arc 4 Vis Mahito Arc, Chapters 10 to 21, Episodes 6-13, formatted for Everything-in-1 content. Summary. The story takes a much darker turn in this arc, introducing one of the most disturbing villains in the Jujutsu Kaisen universe, Mahito, a cursed spirit born from human hatred and fear of one another. Unlike other curses, Mahito is intelligent, manipulative, and purely sadistic. His curse technique, idol transfiguration, allows him to reshape souls with a touch, turning humans into grotesque, mindless monsters. We follow Yuji Itadori as he returns to action under the mentorship of Kento Nanami, a former salaryman turned sorcerer. Nanami's composed and logical demeanor contrasts Yuji's emotional intensity, offering him a new perspective on the harsh world of jujutsu. Their mission leads them to investigate a series of strange deaths involving warped corpses, victims of Mahito's experiments. These aren't random attacks. Mahito is actively testing his powers and philosophies about the soul, showing no remorse for his victims. This arc introduces Junpei Yoshino, a bullied teenager who connects with Yuji over their shared love for movies. Junpei seems to be on the path to redemption, but his manipulation by Mahito sets the stage for heartbreak. Mahito twists Junpei's pain and turns him against humanity, giving him cursed powers. Yuji, seeing Junpei as a friend, tries desperately to save him, only to witness Junpei's soul be warped and killed by Mahito in one of the most emotionally brutal scenes in the series. This moment breaks Yuji. He finally understands the cruelty of curses and the cost of being unable to save everyone. Fueled by rage, Yuji fights Mahito head-on, but Mahito is too powerful and too twisted to be defeated easily. Even Sukuna, from inside Yuji, rejects Mahito's attempt to touch his soul, scarring Mahito in the process. The battle pushes Yuji to the edge, forcing him to grow not just in strength, but in conviction. Nanami joins the fray, and together they drive Mahito into retreat, but it's clear this villain will return, stronger and more dangerous. Character development. Yuji's first major loss. The death of Junpei solidifies Yuji's emotional maturity and commitment to stop curses, no matter the pain. Mahito's philosophy. He challenges the value of life and the meaning of a soul, serving as the ideological opposite to Yuji. Nanami's mentorship. We see his unique balance of pragmatism and quiet compassion. He becomes a moral anchor for Yuji. Key themes. The fragility of human souls, manipulation and the loss of innocence, what it means to kill when facing cursed spirits, the emotional cost of being a hero. This Mahito Arc tears open the emotional core of Jujutsu Kaisen. Loss, growth, and moral ambiguity define this phase, where strength alone isn't enough to save a life. Chapters 32-54, episodes 14-21, perfectly formatted for Everything-in-1. Summary. The Kyoto Goodwill Event Arc kicks off with an inter-school competition between the Tokyo and Kyoto Jujutsu High branches, an annual battle event meant to test the students' skills and teamwork. But beneath the surface, it quickly becomes a dangerous conflict where ideologies clash, secrets are exposed, and real enemies emerge. Yuji Itadori, who was believed dead by many, makes a shocking return to his classmates, and not everyone is thrilled. The Kyoto team, under orders from their school principal Gaku Ganji, is secretly instructed to assassinate Yuji, fearing the threat posed by Sukuna's growing power inside him. While the event starts as a standard team battle in a cursed forest setting, it rapidly escalates into full-blown chaos when a group of cursed spirits, led by Hanami and Mahito's allies, infiltrates the arena. Their objective: to test the strength of Jujutsu sorcerers and steal information about the prison realm, a powerful item that could seal Gojo. The students are forced to work together across school lines as they face off against these powerful intruders. During the invasion, we witness some jaw-dropping battles. Aoi Todo versus Yuji Itadori, a fan-favorite fight where Todo tests Yuji's resolve, strength, and potential. Despite a rocky start, the two form a hilarious yet deep brotherly bond. Todo even trains Yuji mid-battle to use the Black Flash, a high-impact jujutsu technique that requires focus and rage. Hanami versus everyone. The nature-based curse Hanami pushes the students to their limits, especially when Gojo is restrained from entering the battlefield. Eventually, when he arrives, Gojo unleashes his devastating hollow purple technique, wiping out Hanami's retreat route and reminding everyone why he's the strongest. This arc also dives deeper into Nobara's growth as a fighter and strategist, Panda's true nature as a sentient cursed corpse, Meiki's family struggles and strength despite lacking cursed energy, the Zenin clan's oppressive values, hinted at through Maki and her sister Mai. In the end, the Kyoto principal's plot fails, the enemy retreat, and Yuji proves himself worthy of being a true sorcerer, not just a vessel for Sukuna. Character spotlights. Yuji Itadori learns to harness Black Flash and understands how to channel pain into power. Aoi Todo, surprisingly wise and insightful, he becomes a mentor figure despite his eccentric personality. Maki and Nobara break stereotypes and shine as strong, intelligent fighters. Hanami, the first major curse that forces teamwork at its highest level. Themes explored: the gray lines between duty and morality, strength through unity, even among rivals, growth born from real danger, not safe practice, authority versus individuality within the Jujutsu system. Kyoto Goodwill Event Arc delivers thrilling fights, heartfelt moments, and fierce rivalries, proving that even in a cursed world, strength comes from connection. Jujutsu Kaisen Arc 6 Death Painting Arc, Chapters 55-64, Episodes 22, 24, formatted perfectly for your everything-in-one content. Summary. Following the chaos of the Kyoto Goodwill event, the dust settles, but the peace doesn't last. The death painting arc kicks off when Yuji, Nobara, and Megumi are assigned a new mission involving a series of gruesome murders at an inn. These cases aren't the work of ordinary curses. They're tied to a forbidden class of beings known as cursed womb death paintings. These beings are half-human, half-curse hybrids, created through grotesque experiments involving human corpses and cursed energy. The trio soon confronts two powerful brothers, Aso and Kechizu, who are seeking revenge for their kind and aren't just mindless curses. They have emotions, grief, and a strong bond of family. What begins as a typical extermination mission evolves into a brutal fight with deep emotional undertones. Yuji and Nobara find themselves pushed to their limits, especially as the Curse Brothers unleash deadly techniques like rot technique, decay, which causes rapid tissue corrosion. The standout moment of this arc comes when Nobara demonstrates her true power and composure, showing she's not just comic relief or a sidekick, she's a cold-blooded warrior. She and Yuji synchronize their attacks, delivering a devastating double takedown of Kechizu and Aso in one of the most beautifully animated, emotionally packed fights in the series. However, the emotional aftermath hits Yuji hard. Despite winning, he's forced to accept that he's now killed living beings, hybrids with feelings and familial love. It's no longer just about defeating curses, it's about shouldering the weight of lives taken in battle. Meanwhile, Suguru Geto's mysterious group successfully steals more death paintings and retreats, revealing their larger scheme to reshape the world through chaos. Character evolution. Yuji Itadori experiences his first true kill, causing emotional trauma and growth. He begins to understand the heavy burden of a sorcerer. Nobara Kugisaki proves she's an elite fighter, confident, fearless, and capable of holding her own in high-stakes battles. While less central this arc, his previous battle against a special-grade curse continues to influence his worldview and growth. Key themes. The weight of killing, even when it's justified. Bonds of brotherhood, even among curses. Emotional maturity and moral consequences. Humanity within monsters, and monsters within humanity. The death painting arc brings visceral action with emotional scars, where victory doesn't come without a cost, and curses aren't the only ones with hearts. Everything in one. Jujutsu Kaisen Arc 7, Gojo's Past Arc, chapters 65 to 79. Season 2, Episodes 1, 5 tailored for everything in one branding. Summary. The timeline rewinds as we step into the past, more than a decade before the main story. The Gojo's Past Arc explores the early years of Satoru Gojo and Suguru Geto during their time as students at Tokyo Jujutsu High. Back then, they were not enemies, but close friends, partners, and the strongest jujutsu duo. The arc centers around a crucial mission to protect and escort a young girl named Riko Amanai, the designated star plasma vessel whose destiny is to merge with Master Tengen, a timeless sorcerer whose body needs periodic merging to stay human and mentally stable. Gojo and Geto are tasked with ensuring her safety while being hunted by powerful foes, most notably Toji Fushiguro, the infamous sorcerer killer. Toji is a former Zenin clan member with no cursed energy, but he compensates with peak physical prowess and cursed tools, making him a terrifying anomaly. Despite their power, Gojo and Geto's overconfidence is shattered when Toji fatally wounds Gojo and kills Riko in front of them. This moment of failure is a turning point for both characters. However, in a jaw-dropping comeback, Gojo awakens his six eyes and limitless techniques in full, achieving near godlike status. He defeats Toji in a now iconic battle that marks the birth of the strongest jujutsu sorcerer in modern history. But victory comes with a heavy cost. The trauma of Riko's death and the mission's aftermath starts Geto's descent into darkness. He begins questioning the jujutsu world's hypocrisy. Why save people who fear and hate sorcerers? This internal conflict sets him on the path toward becoming the villain we meet in the present timeline. Character insights. Once arrogant and carefree, this arc shows the moment he steps into his role as the strongest. He gains immense power, but also isolation. Once a moral, compassionate sorcerer, this arc begins his philosophical shift. Witnessing helplessness and sacrifice leads him to adopt extremist ideals. A cold-blooded assassin with no cursed energy, but immense physical prowess and tactical genius. His legacy echoes through his son, Megumi. Core themes: power versus responsibility, loss of innocence, the price of strength, ideological divergence between friends, the roots of betrayal. Gojo's past arc is the emotional backbone of Jujutsu Kaisen, the beginning of everything. Power blooms, friendships fracture, and destiny is forever altered. Chapters 79 to 136. Season 2, Episodes 6 through 23. For Everythingin1, a true turning point in the series. Summary: the Shibuya Incident Arc is the longest and most catastrophic arc in Jujutsu Kaisen so far. Taking place on October 31st, the arc follows a coordinated assault by cursed spirits and rogue sorcerers led by Suguru Geto, possessed by Kenjaku, whose goal is to seal Gojo's Satoru, the greatest threat to their plans. It begins with Shibuya Station being sealed off by a massive curtain barrier, trapping civilians and setting the stage for a war zone. The enemy's target is clear: get Gojo inside and seal him using the prison realm, an ancient cursed object. Once Gojo enters, he is swarmed by powerful enemies, including Jogo, Hanami, and Choso. Though Gojo annihilates many foes with surgical precision, the plan succeeds due to Geto Kenjaku's deception. With Gojo sealed alive inside the prison realm, the balance of power in the Jujutsu world collapses. The rest of the arc spirals into chaos. Yuji Itadori, Megumi Fushiguro, Nobara Kugisaki, and other Jujutsu sorcerers fight desperately to contain the situation. Sukuna, using Yuji's body, is unleashed after a near-death moment. He massacres thousands of civilians and destroys Shibuya in a godlike rampage, a horrifying reminder of what Yuji truly hosts. Nobara is gravely injured, potentially dead, after a brutal battle with Mahito, leaving fans shaken. Nanami Kento, a fan favorite, tragically dies at the hands of Mahito after fighting beyond his limits to protect others. Mahito's evolution reaches its peak, becoming even deadlier before finally being captured and absorbed by Kenjaku. Toji Fushiguro is resurrected temporarily, causing unpredictable mayhem, but shares a brief emotional moment with his son, Megumi, before disappearing. By the end, the sorcerers are devastated, the city is in ruins, and Kenjaku reveals his master plan to merge all of humanity with Master Tengen, essentially rewiring society to suit cursed spirits and ancient laws. He also exposes that he has planted curses in civilians across Japan, ready to awaken them as sorcerers, a ticking time bomb for society. Character highlights: Yuji Itadori suffers immensely, mentally, physically, and emotionally. He questions his purpose and worth after the destruction caused by Sukuna. Neutralized, but still feared, his absence leaves a massive vacuum. Emerges as the true mastermind behind everything. Dies a noble death, cementing his legacy as a mentor and warrior. Nobara Kugisaki, her fate remains unknown, but her final battle leaves a lasting impact. Begins to step up as a leader, awakening his domain expansion and showing tactical brilliance. Core themes: chaos and consequence. There's no plot armor. Anyone can die, anything can happen. Power vacuum. Gojo's absence throws the Jujutsu world into disarray. Loss of innocence. The sorcerers face overwhelming losses, leaving them scarred and hardened. True evil emerges. Kenjaku's vision goes beyond power. He wants to rewrite humanity. The Shibuya Incident Arc is a masterclass in escalation, a perfect storm of power, tragedy, and revelation. It tears down everything safe and builds a world where anything can happen. Up next. Summary. Following the chaos and destruction of the Shibuya incident, Japan is in complete disarray. The Jujutsu world has crumbled. Satoru Gojo remains sealed, key sorcerers are dead or missing, and public awareness of curses is on the rise. But instead of rallying together, the Jujutsu headquarters declares Yuji Itadori a threat to humanity. Deeming him responsible for Sukuna's massacre in Shibuya, the higher-ups issue a death sentence, reinstating an execution order on Yuji and assigning none other than Yuta Okotsu from Jujutsu Kaisen 0 to carry it out. Yuta is now a certified special-grade sorcerer. and though fans last saw him as gentle and protective, he returns deadly serious, ready to eliminate Yuji if needed. Meanwhile, Yuji is hiding and dealing with emotional torment, guilt over Sukuna's rampage and the countless lives lost. He accepts that he may have to die to atone for what happened. But just as Yuta locates Yuji and stabs him, a twist is revealed. Yuta and Gojo were aligned all along. The execution was staged to fool the higher-ups and buy time for a plan that may eventually save Gojo and fight Kenjaku's growing influence. At the same time, Choso teams up with Yuji, adding emotional complexity as he refers to Yuji as his younger brother, a side effect of Kenjaku's manipulation and their shared cursed lineage. Character focus. Struggles with survivor's guilt and comes close to accepting death, but his resilience wins again as he chooses to keep fighting, not for himself, but for those who've died. Yuta Okotsu, now an elite sorcerer, shows his growth in power and resolve, while also revealing a deeper understanding of justice and sacrifice. Choso, from enemy to unlikely ally, he becomes emotionally tied to Yuji as they share a cursed blood connection, adding to the arc's moral complexity. Core themes: justice versus politics. Yuji's persecution isn't based on fairness, it's damage control. Redemption and responsibility. Yuji doesn't run from guilt, he embraces it. Allegiances shift. Old enemies become allies, and friends take dangerous risks behind the scenes. In just a few chapters, the Itadori Extermination Arc delivers raw emotion, political betrayal, and new alliances. The fallout from Shibuya burns on, and Yuji's journey becomes darker, yet more determined. Everything in one. Next up, Perfect Preparation Arc, chapters 144 to 158. For Everything in One, a strategic pause filled with development, suspense, and plot twists. Summary. The Perfect Preparation Arc acts as a crucial bridge between the chaos of the Shibuya incident and the impending carnage of the Culling Game. It's not just about getting stronger. It's about forming alliances, gathering intel, and setting the board for the next massive confrontation. With Gojo still sealed, and the higher-ups growing more tyrannical, Yuji and his allies take matters into their own hands. The arc introduces us to Master Tengen, the ancient immortal sorcerer, who reveals the true horror behind Kenjaku's plan. He wants to merge all of Japan's citizens with essentially reshaping humanity into cursed beings, using the Culling Game as the catalyst. To stop him, our heroes need to unseal Gojo, and for that, they must obtain a cursed object called the Back Gate of the Prison Realm. It's their only shot at freeing Gojo. But the path is anything but easy. Meanwhile, Megumi faces his own storm. His sister, Tsumiki, has been forcefully enrolled in the Culling Game by Kenjaku, pushing him to the edge. Yuji, determined to help his friend and make up for past losses, accepts the role of a pawn in a dangerous game once again. The arc also introduces new sorcerers and builds up Kinji Hakari, a third-year student from Jujutsu High, previously suspended for bad behavior, who may hold the key to turning the tides. Character Fodori shows more emotional maturity and strategic insight. His drive is now laser-focused on atonement and protection, gains more emotional weight and leadership as the mission becomes personal. Master Tengen adds a deep layer of lore and mystery to the Jujutsu world, unveiling ancient sorcery secrets. Introduced as an eccentric, gambling-obsessed sorcerer who operates underground fight clubs, despite his quirks, he's incredibly powerful, someone they need on their side. Continues to prove his loyalty and tactical strength as a major asset to the team. Core themes: preparation versus panic. While the world spirals, the protagonists work tactically to fight back. Power beyond battle. Strategy, politics, and recruitment take center stage. Destiny and free will, Tsumiki's forced involvement raises ethical dilemmas around fate and sacrifice. The Perfect Preparation Arc lives up to its name. It lays the groundwork for war with intensity and soul. Secrets unfold, new players arrive, and the real battle draws closer. Everything in one. Jujutsu Kaisen Arc 11 Culling 159 ongoing through 2023 plus. For Everything in One, a battle royale of ideology, evolution, and raw sorcery. Summary. The Culling Game Arc begins with the Jujutsu world turned upside down. Kenjaku, in his twisted pursuit of human evolution, has turned Japan into a massive experimental ground by activating a nationwide cursed ritual, the Culling Game. What is the Culling Game? It's a deathmatch involving thousands of participants, most of whom are everyday people forcibly turned into sorcerers through Kenjaku's ancient techniques. These players are now trapped within multiple colonies across Japan, each enclosed by barriers and filled with combatants bound by cursed rules. The objective? Survive, fight, and score points. But the deeper goal for our heroes is to free Tsumiki, rescue Gojo, stop Kenjaku, and undo the ritual before it reshapes the world forever. Major developments. New rules and strategy. Players can kill others to earn points. After accumulating 100 points, a player can add a rule to the game. This sets the stage for Yuji, Megumi, Yuta, and Hakari to participate with a goal. Introduce a rule that allows players to exit the game, especially to save Tsumiki. Yuji Itadori continues to evolve, not just physically, but as a symbol of resolve. Despite immense psychological weight, he throws himself into battle after battle. Megumi Fushiguro steps deeper into his family legacy, gaining new understanding and fear about his Ten Shadows technique, especially with ominous hints about Sukuna's interest in him. Yuta Okotsu shows his full power, easily dominating opponents, healing allies, and solidifying his role as one of the most powerful living Jujutsu sorcerers. Kinji Hakari becomes a fan favorite, revealing his broken domain expansion ability that essentially grants him immortality in intervals based on pachinko outcomes. A wild and stylish showcase of creativity and power. Higuruma Hiromi, a former lawyer turned cursed user, is introduced, one of the most compelling new characters. With his gavel-themed domain expansion Idle Death Gamble, he can sentence opponents based on guilt. His brief battle with Yuji turns into a surprising alliance. Sukuna makes his move in subtle, chilling ways, manipulating from within, choosing a moment to force control again later in the arc with horrifying consequences, especially related to Megumi and Tsumiki. Kenjaku continues to pull strings, entering colonies himself, eliminating powerful players, and moving closer to merging Tengen with humanity. Character highlights. No longer just a fighter, now a symbol of hope, resilience, and moral struggle. Megumi faces increasing emotional strain as Sukuna's shadow looms over him and his sister. Hakari and Panda shine in their respective colonies, bringing unique styles and tactics. Yuta plays a tactical role, balancing brute power with intelligence and leadership. New characters add depth to the arc's exploration of morality, punishment, and choice. Core themes. Evolution versus humanity. Kenjaku believes sorcerers must evolve through chaos. The Culling Game is his twisted solution. Free will versus fate. Most players are unwilling participants, raising ethical dilemmas. Redemption and revenge. Many characters carry personal vendettas or moral questions, making each fight more than just survival. The Culling Game Arc is Jujutsu Kaisen at its most explosive, a melting pot of philosophies, sorcery, and survival. Every move could reshape the world or end a legacy. Let's enter the most intense and high-stakes arc in Jujutsu Kaisen so far, where gods among sorcerers collide, destinies are rewritten, and the ultimate battle unfolds. Jujutsu Kaisen Arc 12, Shinjuku Showdown Arc, Chapters 221 ongoing for Everythingin1, the legendary clash of titans, Gojo vs. Sukuna. Summary. After long months of preparation and battles in the Culling Game, the final pieces fall into place. Thanks to strategic planning by Yuta, Hakari, and Angel, Satoru Gojo is finally unsealed from the prison realm. But there's no time to celebrate. The world has changed. Kenjaku has killed Master Tengen and is near completing the ritual to merge humanity into cursed beings. Worse still, Sukuna, now possessing Megumi Fushiguro's body, has reached near godlike strength. With the Ten Shadows technique and his original powers, he's become the strongest curse in history. And so, the Battle of Fate is set in Shinjuku, the heart of Tokyo. The ultimate clash, Gojo vs. Sukuna. This arc centers around what fans have awaited for years, the once-in-a-generation fight between the strongest sorcerer alive, Gojo, and the king of curses, Sukuna. Both are masters of domain expansions, techniques, and combat. Their battle is not just flashy, it's deeply philosophical. Every move echoes centuries of ideology, loss, pride, and survival. Gojo, fighting for humanity, legacy, and his students. Sukuna, fighting for supremacy, chaos, and domination. The Shinjuku battlefield turns into a war zone of reality-bending techniques, and each side pushes their abilities beyond the known limits of Jujutsu. Side battles and strategic shifts. While Gojo and Sukuna battle, the rest of the cast prepares for what comes next. Kenjaku begins wiping out the remaining Culling Game players, trying to finalize his plan. Yuta, Yuji, Hakari, and others prepare to take action depending on the fight's outcome. Megumi's soul is slowly being drowned by Sukuna's influence, creating emotional stakes for Yuji and Gojo. New cursed techniques, evolved domains, and ultimate techniques are revealed, raising the bar for what's possible in this universe. Character spotlights. At peak form, driven by purpose, his fight with Sukuna shows his emotional maturity, strength, and commitment to ending the curse. Sukuna in Megumi's body uses Megumi's 10 Shadows technique in shocking, deadly ways, including summoning powerful Shikigami. Though sidelined for much of the arc's beginning, his determination to save Megumi and end Sukuna is boiling beneath the surface. Still pulling strings from the shadows, determined to reset the world through cursed evolution. Core themes: legacy versus annihilation. Gojo embodies the future of Jujutsu. Sukuna represents its darkest past. Power versus purpose. What does it mean to be strong? And what do you do with that strength? Humanity in combat. Even in this colossal fight, personal bonds, regrets, and hopes shape every technique and choice. The Shinjuku Showdown Arc is the peak of Jujutsu Kaisen's storytelling and spectacle. It's not just a fight, it's the unraveling of everything the story has built. And it's far from over. Everything in one. That covers all major arcs of Jujutsu Kaisen so far, from Itadori's first steps to the godlike clash in Shinjuku. Want a compiled list of all arcs with descriptions for your blog front page? Or shall we begin narration-style